If all three persons of the Holy Trinity are God, but there's only one God, then that means God in his very essence is a relationship of persons, right? Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And the key insight I've mentioned over and over again, the key insight that helps make all of this make a little more sense is something that God revealed through our patron saint, St. John the Evangelist, who said that God is love, right? Not just that God is loving, as if it was just one of his many attributes, but that God is love itself. And if you're love itself, that necessarily entails that you can't be just one person. That wouldn't be love, that would be narcissism. If God is love itself, then it necessarily means that the one God is a relationship of persons. And St. Augustine summed up the Holy Trinity simply by saying that wherever you have love, there's three realities, right? The lover, the beloved, and the love that they share. And the Father gives himself in love to the Son. The Son returns that love completely in giving himself to the Father. And the love between Father and Son is so real that it comprises another person, right? The reality of the love that proceeds from them, the Holy Spirit that proceeds from the love of one another. I mention this all the time in marriages because in nuptial masses, you know, this union of marriage, it's meant to be an icon to this Trinitarian love. The husband gives himself in love to his bride. His wife, in turn, gives herself back in love to her husband. And the love between them, so real. 9 months later, you have to give it a name, right? That love embodied in a whole separate person, right? That's the great vocation or calling of marriage, to image and incarnate for us the very inner life of love in the most holy Trinity. And that's why Jesus, remember, or God at the beginning says, let us make man in our image after our likeness. And then he proceeded to make them male and female. And so the fuller representation of the image and likeness of God is male and female together, that from which life proceeds. That's why the church incessantly calls humanity back to that original vision, God's original vision of the sanctity of marriage, so that whenever man and woman engage in that conjugal union, their coming together proclaims the truth of what that conjugal union is meant to represent. This holy exchange of love that is at the very essence of the life of God. Right? So God and the church see the sexual union as a very holy and beautiful thing. It's, fallen humanity that has made it unholy and caused so much hurt from it. Right? Because the very nature of love is that it seeks the good of the other. And so, in this sense, the opposite of love is not so much hate, but the opposite of love is to use. Because if love is to seek the good of the other, to use is to seek my own good at the expense of the other. So love is effusive of itself. It's life-giving. So by effusive, I mean the classical meaning of that word, which is this pouring out to overflowing. Wherever love is, more love pours forth freely from it. In fact, in this sense, all of creation in its original goodness pours forth freely from the most holy Trinity, the love exchanged in the most holy Trinity. All of creation is a product of that eternal exchange of love that is God.